You signed the lease on a Wednesday. The apartment manager gave you the key and a parking pass and a 2-page document about the trash schedule, and you drove home to pack. You had not told anyone your new address. You had not updated your billing information. You had not forwarded your mail. You moved in on Saturday. Sunday morning, you went to check the mailbox out of habit, expecting nothing. There were 11 pieces of mail. Every one of them was addressed to you. Every one had your new address written in full. Apartment number, building, city, zip. The postmarks ranged from 17 to 4 days ago. The earliest one was mailed the Tuesday before you signed the lease. You stood at the mailbox for a long time. You looked up and down the street. You carried the envelopes inside and spread them on the kitchen counter, and you sorted them by postmark. And you noticed that they were not random correspondence. They were not junk mail or election flyers or magazine renewals. They were personal. A card from someone who signed only with an initial. A folded piece of notebook paper with a phone number and the words, "Call when you're settled." A sealed envelope with nothing written on the front except your first name, in handwriting you almost recognized. You did not open that one. You are not sure why. You called the post office. The customer service representative was patient and helpful. She confirmed that no mail forwarding order existed for your new address in relation to your name. She confirmed that the postmarks were from a legitimate regional processing center. She had no explanation for mail addressed to a residence you had not yet moved into. You put the stack in a kitchen drawer and you went about your week. The second stack arrived on Thursday. 9 more envelopes. The earliest postmarked last month. 2 of them contained photographs. Photographs you recognized from occasions you remembered, printed on consumer photo paper. The photographs were correct in every detail, except that the apartment you had not yet moved into was visible in 3 of the backgrounds, through windows or in mirrors, as if someone had been there during those occasions, watching the same moments you were watching, from a room that would not be yours for another 6 weeks. You called the apartment manager. He said the previous tenant had vacated cleanly. He said the mail had been held and forwarded. He gave you a name, Owen Searle. He said Owen had lived in the apartment for about a year before moving on. You searched the name. You found a social media profile, dormant. Last updated the month Owen had presumably moved out. The profile photo was a blurred outdoor shot. The subject turned slightly away. You looked at the photo for a while and had the specific discomfort of almost recognizing someone you could not place. In the comments on Owen's last post, someone had written, "Hope the new place works out. Hope you find what you're looking for." The commenter's profile was set to private. The avatar was a small square, too compressed to read clearly. But the shape in it, you looked at it for a while. You thought it might be a building. You thought it might be your building. The Twilight Registry's case notes on this phenomenon, internally designated the forwarding anomaly, cover 17 documented instances across 11 states. In every case, the letters arrived before the new resident had moved in. In every case, the content was personal and appeared to originate from people the recipient actually knew, though none of the apparent senders had any memory of writing them. In 4 cases, photographs arrived. In 2 of those cases, The photographs showed events that had not yet occurred at the time the photographs were postmarked. The case notes describe a particular detail that was consistent across 6 of the 17 instances. In each of those 6 cases, the new resident reported a sealed envelope with only their first name on the front, in handwriting they almost recognized. In each case, they did not open it. In the 11 remaining cases, there is no record of what the resident eventually decided. Those 11 residents were no longer available to provide a follow-up interview. The registry cross-referenced departure dates against final mail deliveries. In each of the 17 cases, the last piece of mail arrived in the 7 days before the resident ceased all outgoing contact. In 3 of those cases, the last piece of mail was a sealed envelope with only the recipient's first name on the front. Post-departure, 2 of those envelopes were found opened. The third was not found. A registry investigator reviewing the forwarding anomaly cases noted a secondary pattern in her report, filed under addendum rather than main body, because she was not certain it was relevant. In each case, there was a previous resident. In each case, the previous resident's name, when searched, produced social media profiles that were dormant but not deleted, last active in the month before their own departure. She wrote, "It may be that the departure is not an ending. It may be that the departure is a forwarding." She included in her addendum a note that she had been experiencing, since completing her case review, a mild but consistent sensation that her mail was arriving early. She had not yet checked the postmarks carefully. The addendum was submitted on a Thursday. She did not file a report the following week. The registry made 4 attempts to reach her. On the 5th attempt, the number she had listed in her personnel file had been disconnected. The outgoing message, when investigators called, said, "I've moved. If you're receiving this, it means the new place worked out." The tone of it was, investigators noted, satisfied. She has not been located. As of this filing, the Twilight Registry recommends that if you move to a new address and find mail already waiting, you document the postmarks. You retain the envelopes. You do not open the one with only your first name on the front. We do not have sufficient data on what happens next. We have sufficient data to note that in every case we are aware of, the letter was eventually opened. This has been the Twilight Registry. We document what cannot be explained. Case file on the forwarding anomaly remains open and accepting submissions. Stay curious, but perhaps check your postmarks.